Hi, I'm Simon Harvey and I'm from Ivory Egg. Thank you for joining me for part 3. So it's part 3 of looking at the Theben ThePixa sensor. And if you'd missed the 2 parts before, go back and have a look. So part 1 we look at the product overview, and then part 2 we looked at the nitty gritty of all the things that can be done inside ECS. And then part 3 is all about the app. So the app is a really important part of the ThePixa. It's not just important for guys commissioning, which gives great flexibility and quick commissioning and a really good insight into how the sensor needs to work, but it's also a really good tool to hand to your customer. It's a free app, so there's no required remote controls or anything like that, and they can download to it. I want to stress to you here, though, that Theben have made sure that this app is security protected, and it can be protected through a PIN passcode which can be set by the installer for the integrator and for the for the customer. So if you download the ThePixa app, you can actually have a demo version of this, and what I've got here, I've got a ticked demonstration version. So go back there and it gives us a few options for a few sensors, and it can show what it'll be looking like if you had them installed. So I'm going to choose the first sensor here, and we're going to connect to it. So using our Bluetooth, we connect to it, and straight away we can have a look at an image of a pixelated image of what the sensor's seeing. And here it's showing some movement as well as some presence. Okay, so obviously it's detecting the difference between those. If we go straight to zone control, we can put these zones in. So these will work in correlation with what the zones are chosen within ETS. Obviously in ETS you can't choose the zones. This way we can do it inside the ThePixa. So obviously we can create overlapping zones, really good sized zones that don't bleed over, and they can work in tandem together. So I'm just creating a few zones here all together, and we can start to see what we want to use for that zone and how that zone's going to be working. And we can change the name of the sensor. So now what I've got those zones in there. Okay, so once we've got the zones in there, we can have a look at occupancy. Okay, so if you had occupancy rates, depending on zone 1, zone 2, or zone 3, we can have a look at heat maps. Okay, so thinking if over a certain amount of time we can have heat maps, and we can actually go back to any of these times or dates and have a look at the heat map. We can actually go into and record a new heat map. Okay, if we're trying to look what happening in that day or that time, we can actually go into there. And also, if we had any saved heat maps in here, we can tick these and we can export them directly to our phone, and we can email them off to ourselves. That comes in a CSV format which can be imported into Excel. So we also have the ability to change the parameters of the sensor. So at the moment, obviously, it's showing us as a temperature. It's jumping around a bit because it's just a demo, but we can actually calibrate the sensor there as well. And we've got a number of brightness in the different types of zones, so they're feeding back the brightness. What this app will actually do, it'll use the iPhone or the Android device's camera to work out the lux levels, and so then you can actually set the lux levels from here, and you can actually manually put them in. We can change things like mounting heights, the sensitivity of each of the zones, and the room definition of that zone. We can do things like teach in commands, so we can teach in the brightness into those zones as well. So you can see here, this is a really good app that, you can constantly adjust as the project changes or the demands of the project or the building change. You can get real life update depending on the zones in the brightness in the zones, and this can be done by the customer as well. So the end user can actually do that. You can have a little bit of heat mapping, occupancy. So download the ThePixa plug app, have a little play with it. And when you're ready to have a bit more of a talk, please don't hesitate to contact us at Ivory Egg, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about more products and about the ThePixa. Thank you.